What's up YouTube, Saf here on Super Saf TV, and welcome to another epic Super Saf style camera comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S7/Edge versus the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus. So we'll be testing out the front and rear facing cameras in the usual style, and also looking at images as well as video too. Do also look out for the audio icon in the corner of the screen, and that will indicate to you which device the audio is coming from too. And we'll be switching between these two to give you guys a better idea of the differences in audio as well. So we're currently in my car, so sort of outdoors, and we're using the front-facing cameras on both devices. Now, one thing to bear in mind straight away is that the iPhone 6s can only film at 720p from the front-facing camera, whereas the S7, like the S6, can film at up to 1440p Quad HD. So that does mean that if you go 100%, you are going to be getting a lot more detail and resolution on the S7 compared to the iPhone 6s. Now, we're going to be heading outdoors and doing some rear-facing camera tests, and then we'll do some indoor low-light tests and things. And we'll also be switching between the 6s and the 6s Plus, because the 6s Plus does have optical image stabilization. So we'll see if that makes much of a difference. And the S7 and S7 Edge have the exactly same cameras, so that's another thing to bear in mind. So we will be using the S7 Edge for this particular video. Anyway, do hit that thumbs up button and let's get straight to it. So now we're outdoors with the rear facing cameras, and we are filming at 4K. And although this video is exported out at 1080p, it does mean we can crop in and get lots more detail. Okay, so now we're going to be testing out the image stabilization on both. So just going to be taking a bit of a walk and seeing how these do. Now, both of these are mounted to the same device, so it's as fair as you can get. So this is just a quick test. Now we've switched to the iPhone 6s Plus just to see if that makes any difference, because that does have optical image stabilization. So yeah. Now just testing out the autofocus in relatively low light on the S7, and that is just crazy fast. You've got dual pixel autofocus, and I mean, it's pretty much seamless. Look at that. Now just on the iPhone 6s, and I mean, I can just straight away see that, yep, it's taking a lot longer to focus in compared to the S7. Now, before we move on to the images, a quick thanks to our sponsor for this episode, which is Dbrand. Dbrand have some quality skins for lots of different devices, and you can now also pre-order skins for the Samsung Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge. I'll be linking to them in the description below, so definitely do go ahead and check them out. Now, starting off with the selfies. So first up, you can see here that we do have a much better dynamic range on the image from the Samsung Galaxy S7. HDR was set to auto and both of them did use it. However, the S7 seems to have done a better job. You've also got a wider angle here, so for your group selfies, that will definitely work out. Now with the iPhone 6s, it definitely is blowing out those highlights, especially if you look in the background, and on my face it is a bit too bright on here. Going in 100%, you can see that we've got lots more detail maintained here on the S7 as well, whereas the image on the iPhone 6s is not as sharp. Now moving on to an indoor selfie in low light. I think this will come down to personal preference. There is a little bit more noise on the iPhone 6s image compared to the Samsung Galaxy S7. And the S7 image is more on the cooler side compared to the warmer tones on the iPhone 6s. Now both devices have a front-facing flash, which illuminates the front screen to give you brighter images in low light. And here I do prefer the image from the Samsung Galaxy S7. I think it's sharper with more detail, whereas the iPhone 6s image is definitely quite grainy once again. If we go in 100%, you can see that we have much more detail here on the S7 compared to the iPhone 6s. So I would give the edge overall for the front-facing camera to the Samsung Galaxy S7. Now moving on to an outdoor image in good light, I think both are doing great. You've got lots of detail. Some slight differences in colors. Once again, a bit more on the warmer side on the iPhone 6s, a bit on the cooler side on the Samsung Galaxy S7. Let's go in 100%. You can see that we've got lots of detail on here. I think maybe just a tad sharper on the Samsung Galaxy S7, but both doing a great job overall. Now, an outdoor wide image, here you can see that the S7 does have a slightly wider angle lens. In terms of the images, I think both are doing a good job. Looks like the Samsung Galaxy S7 has favored the foreground, whereas the iPhone 6s has favored the background a little bit. So if you look towards the greens and the grass, they are a little bit brighter on the Samsung Galaxy S7. Whereas if you look at the clouds on the iPhone 6s image, they are a little bit more detailed. So again, I think this is going to come down to personal preference. I think both are doing a good job overall. Now let's move on to low light situations. So this is under room lighting. I think both are doing pretty decent. The S7 is slightly brighter. Now let's dip the light down even further to see how much of a difference it makes. And here you can see that the f1.7 aperture as well as the optical image stabilization is really helping the Samsung Galaxy S7, whereas the iPhone 6s is really struggling with lots and lots of noise. So the edge definitely has to go here to the Samsung Galaxy S7. Now let's try the iPhone 6s Plus, because that does have optical image stabilization. And although the image is a little bit better with more details compared to the iPhone 6s, the win definitely has to go to the Samsung Galaxy S7 here. Now I thought I'd take this test even further, so went outdoors at night. And here once again you can see that the Samsung Galaxy S7 is really shining here with a very nice image compared to the muggy image of the iPhone 6s. Moving on to the iPhone 6s Plus, you can see that once again it is definitely better than the image that came from the iPhone 6s, but still nowhere near the Samsung Galaxy S7. This is even more clear when we go in 100%. You can see that lots of detail is lost on the iPhone 6s Plus, whereas on the Samsung Galaxy S7 you've got a much more sharp image and it definitely has a lot more detail. Now moving on to an image using the flash of the rear facing cameras, I would give the edge here to the iPhone 6s. I think generally the colors are a little bit better because of that dual LED flash. The Samsung Galaxy S7 not doing bad, but the colors are a little bit too much on the cooler side in my opinion. So there we have it, the camera comparison between the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus versus the Samsung Galaxy S7 and Edge. Overall, I would give the win for the front-facing camera to the Samsung Galaxy S7. I think you had better dynamic range, better detail, and also a wider angle of view with 1440p video recording compared to 720p on the iPhone 6s. They really do need to update that. For video quality from the rear-facing cameras, I think quality-wise in good light, both were pretty good. However, the S7 does get the win for autofocus. That dual pixel autofocus is super fast. Outdoor images in good light were nice overall on both, and I would call it a draw. But the S7 really shines in low light. The optical image stabilization, the f1.7 aperture versus f2.2 aperture, and also the larger pixels definitely all go towards giving a brighter image in tricky situations. For audio, we've got stereo sound on the S7 versus mono sound on the iPhone 6s once again. So I would give the edge to the Samsung Galaxy S7 here. Now I know a lot of you will be saying that the iPhone 6s is quite a bit older now, 5 or 6 months, but this is comparing what's out right now. We will be doing another comparison when the iPhone 7 is out. So that's what I think anyway. What do you think? Do drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. If you want to see more images from lots of different devices, then make sure you do go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I am at SuperSafTV. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, then please do hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. And if you haven't already, then be sure to subscribe. I've got plenty more content coming up on here. I'd also like to thank Car for Wahas for helping to make this video possible. I am working on an epic project with them, which will be coming soon. So make sure you do stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSafTV, and I'll see you next time.